So hello there everyone. I would like to apologise for the lack of audio from me in this video, mainly because I've only just plugged my microphone in, and I haven't really found that there's much to talk about in this video, other than the fact that, unless you can't tell, this is a flight which I've done from Newcastle International Airport, which is my local airport, to Skiathos Alexandros Papadiamantis Airport. So that's EGNT to LGSK for those of you who speak that language. Obviously, as you know, we departed from runway 07 at Newcastle and headed about southish until then crossing over a stretch of water and heading over the main European continent. We've just gone about 40 nautical miles away from our top of descent now. So we're going to be beginning the descent in a bit. So until then I'll just talk really, because there's not much else to do. So for those of you that aren't aware, the plane which I'm flying is an Airbus A321. This is the Airbus X by Aerosoft, and I'm flying it in the Thomas Cook Egypt livery. This is a relatively new chartered flight, operated by Thomas Cook from Newcastle, and as far as Skiathos Airport is concerned, the longest flight which they have on a routine basis is from Newcastle to Skiathos. So I'm currently doing the longest flight that they serve on a routine basis, and it is flown in the Thomas Cook Airbus A321, so this is quite accurate. And I managed to get the charter which is actually flown, and also the flight plans and the real world weather for the latest flight. So this flight is pretty accurate on those concerns. So as you can see here, we're coming up to around 20-25 nautical miles away from our top of descent point. So we're going to get ready for the descent now. So to do so, I'm just going to look at my flight management unit, and I'm going to check here. It says for my top of descent I should be at flight level 330, which is correct, and we're going to be descending on that descent route to SKP, and we need to be at flight level 117 for that. So we're going to put in flight level 117, ready for the descent. Not 117. 117. So that is us set up for descent. Just gone 20 nautical miles away from it. So let's talk a bit more about this aircraft. I did a first look on this aircraft about a few months ago now, really, and I promised you a full flight video. That didn't happen. This is it. But it didn't happen. I can't exactly remember why, and I'm not going to make up some excuse. That just didn't happen. So here it is. I hope you're enjoying it so far. My lack of editing skills is literally just combined into putting video after video in Vegas and then exporting it onto YouTube, and uploading it, onto YouTube. And that's about it. So landing at Skiathos is probably going to be one of the biggest challenges of this video, and I'm not making a joke. If you saw my other video where I landed a 737-600 at Skiathos, I struggled quite a lot, and they're a lot more manoeuvrable, in my opinion, with my flight controls than the Airbus A321 is. So the landing is probably going to be extremely bad. I apologise for that now. Please no hate mail, because I'm really not very good at manual landings. I usually do stuff like ILS and, where possible, auto land, full cat-free auto land, even if the weather's perfect. But just please do keep that in mind. It isn't going to be the best landing. However, landing at Skiathos, for any pilot will tell you this, it's quite hard. In fact, only the captain of the aircraft is allowed to land at Skiathos. If the captain is ill or feels that he is unable to land, they have to divert to Volos Airport, which is an army base active airport near the vicinity. So that's gives you an idea of how serious they take this approach and landing in Skiathos. So as you can see, my top of descent is starting to jump around a bit now, so I'm going to get ready for the descent by getting ready to select management on the altitude. There we go. So I've pushed the knob in, and that means that it is automatically started our descent track. So it will automatically start going down at the rate at which it needs to make sure that we are at the correct altitude for the correct waypoint. And whatever it needs to do that, it will automatically do. Unless we require more drag, in which case it will come up on the FMU saying drag, or drag required. In which case we'll probably just put up a teeny bit of spoilers. So descending right now. Unlike the 737, the Airbus is extremely automated. All of its systems are automated to the T. As soon as you take off, literally as you saw in this video, like 20 seconds after takeoff perhaps, I managed to get this thing running off autopilot pretty perfectly. Climbing at the correct rate, adjusting its speed to match the flap settings, and so on and so forth. The only things that I really had to do was take note of what altitude I was at and what the procedures for that current altitude were. Cruise wise, it keeps a cruise altitude like, I can't even describe it. It stayed on 330 exactly for that entire cruise. So that was a plus. The descent now, as you can see, it is descending perfectly. At the current rate of descent, it will mean that by the time that we get to SKP, we will be at pretty much exactly 11,700 feet at standard. So that's above sea level, not current altimeter setting, but we'll get more into that later. So that's just to give you a clue of how automated these systems are. If we really wanted to, we could get the descent automation system to take us for the descent straight onto the runway at Skiathos. I'm not going to do that because I've never tried it before, and I believe it may possibly go more wrong than if I did it manually. What else? Okay, so we'll go through the approach procedure. So we're going to be coming up on the SKP transition, or star, or whatever you want to call it, and that is a VOR, which is right above Skopelos. So it's a Skopelos VOR, hence SKP. Sorry. So we're going to be flying over there, which is going to take us practically straight over the top of Skiathos, or straight to the top end of runway 20 at Skiathos, and to Skopelos. Once we get to Skopelos VOR, it's going to be a right turn, following straight across Skopelos until over the sea, where we will be able to see to the right hand side of us that we are practically perfectly in line with runway 20 of Skiathos Airport. Following that, we're then going to fly past the peninsula, or the hooked peninsula of Skiathos, and go about 15 nautical miles away from there and follow it with practically a right-hand U-turn, a wide right-hand U-turn, to line up with Skiathos town. Where you actually line up with is the island which juts off from Skiathos town, called Veberuzzi, which is like a small island which is joint on with a big sort of stately house there, and it looks quite nice. I've been there before because I go to Skiathos quite often. So you aim for Veberuzzi before you know that you are in line with the airport and you have flown over the jut of land which comes out opposite the peninsula, and you follow that with another right turn to line up with your finals for the runway, for runway 02, which we're landing at. So line up with runway 02 and begin your descent. So at this point you'll probably be at around 1,200 feet, and you'll need to fly straight and level until established on the precision approach. So once you're on precision approach, then it's obviously manual from there, manual descent. Once I'm actually getting ready for line up with the Baruzzi, I'm going to probably go into the heading so that I can manually adjust my heading to make sure that it matches up with the approach pattern that I've been assigned. So that's about it. So I will meet back up with you when I'm a bit closer to Skiathos, and I'll see you then. So we're back. We're around about 20 nautical miles away from Skiathos. I will show you with my mouse here. This island here is Skiathos. Round about here is the runway. It literally goes from water's edge to water's edge. Out of all the Sporades, I believe they're called, out of all 3 Sporades islands, Skiathos was the only one that had barely enough flat land to have the airport. Over here is Skiathos. Right about here is where the Skiathos VOR is, and this is the landmass. This is the landmass which is opposite the peninsula, which we have to avoid. So we fly down this passage here to about where the Baruzzi is, which is about here, and then turn in a line with the runway. So the runway is practically in the exact centre point between mainland and the peninsula of Skiathos. So yeah, that's going to be about it. We may experience a teeny bit of lag due to my recording software when we get to closer to Skiathos, as the Skiathos scenery which I use is an extremely detailed and amazing scenery, which is the Palm X Skiathos scenery. It is so realistic, it's ridiculous. I've been to Skiathos numerous times, as I've said, and it looks the part. It looks practically exactly the same. Every single little detail around the airport is modelled. Even the Baruzzi is modelled. And there's a little windmill, which is a restaurant right next to the airport. We go there for tea practically almost every night when we go to Skiathos, and that is modelled as well. So, as you can see here, we need to make sure that now we have our descent to flight level 075. So we're going to change this down now to 075. 7,500 feet. There we go. Now we're going to make sure we start descent again. I appreciate that this descent is not going to be the best, neither is the landing, but just bear with me, please. Okay, so as you can see here, it's telling me that I need more drag. So I'm going to put out the spoilers. So we're past 10,000 now, so landing lights on. Seatbelt sign on. No smoking sign on from auto. We are descending so fast right now, it's ridiculous, because I really did mess up the descent. So anyway, this island map we're flying over now is Skiathos. The VOR is right here, as you can see. So as you can see, the next one which we want to put in is 330. So this is our right turn here, which is pretty much taking us in line with the runway, with runway 20 at Skiathos. This is the runway right here. So if we look out here, over there is Skiathos. That's Skiathos town, and the runway was right next to that. Ahead of us right now, I believe, is mainland Greece. I'm not too sure of that. However, I do know that Greece and the Sporades are extremely close together. So that's just my guess on this one. So we're going to go to the QNH, is that the correct QNH? And just before we get to the turn, I'm going to start manually following the approach pattern, well, the descent pattern for the approach, before manually taking over the heading of the aircraft's autopilot system. Sorry, I just messed with the shaders there. I apologise if the audio for this video isn't very good. I'm using a pretty shoddy microphone here. It's the one which is built into my webcam. For some reason I can't find my other one. I have no idea where it is. Okay, so take us down to 2.5 now. And when we get on that turn, this is where I start to take it down to 1,500 feet, this is a manual descent pattern for the approach. So I'm going to go to my FMC here and go into the perf and activate the approach phase. Set the QNH to 1013. And I have no idea what the temperature is. So as you can see, we're doing a turn now. When I slow down just a teeny bit more, I can put my flaps down and put the gear down. The gear should come down before the final turn. So as you can see, it's came up with our landing checklist. So we're going to arm the spoilers. So that's the spoilers armed. We're going to set auto brake max. And just before landing as well, we are going to turn on the brake fans, because we will need to brake quite heavily. Here we go on the final turn. Flaps 1. Landing gear down. So right ahead of us now is Skiathos. And I do believe I put the gear down way too early. Ever so sorry. So it does look like the approach pattern seems to be correct, so it doesn't seem that I need to change to heading, so that's good. Flaps 2. Round about now is when the gear should have really went down. Flaps 3. Okay, manual heading now. And flaps full. Altitude down. Okay, and I will now take manual control of the aircraft. Disengage autopilot. Clear the master warning. I'm going to need to move my microphone forward so that I can actually use my controls. Oh boy. Too low. Make sure that I keep the correct speed. So like I said, at around 900 you're going to be holding that altitude for a while until you're perfect on the precision approach. Right down here is a Baruzzi, which I talked about, and right there is a windmill. The windmill is a visual reference because it is practically right to the left-hand side of runway 02. Runway 02 is the routine landing runway at Skiathos. I'm going to take off the auto throttle now, and I'm going to manually control speed and aircraft control surfaces. So there's the boat leaving to Skiathos.
400.
There's a Baruzzi. Oh god.
200.
There's a windmill.
100.
Sink rate.
50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
That was a really bad landing. Sorry, guys. Okay. Brake fan on. I'm surprised at how quickly we slowed down there. We actually managed to slow down so that we can take the next turn off without having to do a 180 at the end of a runway. That is extremely surprising. Now, this is an extremely weird parking pattern which they have at Skiathos. So you turn into one of these parking bays and follow it round, I believe. Parking brake. So there we go. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy. If you want more videos like this, don't forget I have lots more planes. If you want more videos like this, don't forget to like, rate, comment, subscribe, and comment with which ones you want to see next. I can also do live streams of these if you so wish. They will not be the best of live streams, but I can all but try. So, once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye.